Caitlin Clark just did something that no athlete has done since Michael Jordan.
Welcome to the Caitlin Clark era, when a phenomenon so shocked the basketball world that WNBA veterans are perspiring through their headbands. Remember how Michael Jordan could put his name on anything, and it would sell out before it even reached the shelves? Furthermore, Caitlin just executed a transaction that mirrors MJ himself, so it's not because of the heat.
Where he's like Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, probably eventually Caitlin Clark, where it's like individual people make an entire country tune into their sport.
1,000%.
Like hockey was never bigger than when Wayne Gretzky was playing it, and it was ridiculous how much it grew the sport.
Tiger Woods.
Caitlin Clark does more than just sell goods. She is transforming culture through an innovative collaboration with a multi-billion-dollar company that has the entire sports business is in a frenzy, and some bitter veterans are acting as though they haven't heard their league overshadowed. This goes beyond simply being a cool endorsement. Since a child from North Carolina collaborated with a swoosh and changed the course of sneaker history, this is the largest basketball collaboration. Additionally, a woman is leading at this time. Previously the queen of the court, Clark is currently the queen of business. Stay tuned because we'll share Jordan's words of encouragement at the conclusion, along with the basketball statistic that only Caitlin and his royal heirs have in common. Are you prepared to leave?
But she's incredible. Congratulations to her and her family.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is I'm just seeing her last year when they played LSU, but she's phenomenal.
Here's a perspective on this. Caitlin Clark became the first female athlete to be signed by Wilson, the official game ball supplier for the NBA and WNBA. She has her own branded basketball collection since Michael Jordan. From here, you can hear Sheryl Swoopes tightening her jaw. Recently, the Irony Swoopes has been discussing Clark more than her own career, and now Caitlin's name is being inscribed beside MJ's in the Marketing Hall of Fame. Additionally, these basketballs aren't your typical rubber gym equipment. These elegant gold and white collector's pieces have laser-etched patterns honoring Clark's most significant professional achievements. Tipping the hat to her no-conscience range, the threes-up ball the record breaker honors her dominance on the stat sheet. Additionally, the crowd master acknowledges her ability to transform any arena into a Beyoncé performance.
Making her the first athlete since Michael Jordan to get their own signature basketball from Wilson. She also becomes the first WNBA player to get her own signature basketball from Wilson.
However, things improve. Wilson was unable to even maintain their inventory. In less than 40 minutes, tens of thousands of these balls were sold out. Compared to Asia, that is less time. Wilson will write a mysterious tweet. There was no soft launch. It was an occasion of culture. The sort of immediate sales craze that one might anticipate from an iPhone release or a Travis Scott collaboration. As if it couldn't get much bigger, Clark released yet another collection. This time, HY, the massive grocery chain, will be the partner. You heard correctly. Caitlin Clark is working with a grocer to do sneaker-level sellouts. Calling all Caitlin. Despite Clark fans, there are currently 2 new limited edition basketballs available at a few Hy-Vee locations. The designs are a component of Clark's Inspire collection, which he is working on with Wilson Sporting Goods. The Dreamer Ball is intended to inspire athletes to follow their ambitions, while the Tribute Ball honors Clark's tenure on the Iowa women's basketball team. Sizes 3 and 6 are offered for both at specific high sites. Amanda Lamb, Wilson's head of global brand, explained Caitlin Clark is a cultural icon in addition to being a record-setting athlete. Translation: she is the player, not simply another player. That's precisely the reason Wilson is placing. They're betting on her to steer their women's basketball brand in the right direction. This is a complete brand transformation, not simply a one-time promotion. Additionally, Caitlin is the game's new face.
Calling all Caitlin Clark fans, 2 new limited edition basketballs are now available at select Hy-Vee stores. The designs are part of the Inspire series that Clark is doing in partnership with Wilson Sporting Goods. The Tribute Ball pays homage to Clark's time within the Iowa women's basketball team, and the Dreamer Ball is designed to encourage athletes to pursue their dreams. Both are available in sizes 3 and 6 at select Hy-Vee locations.
And now, the league is feeling the effects of the ripple effect. What is feasible for female athletes is redefined by this type of power maneuver. In addition to signing checks, Clark is rewriting the endorsement playbook, which naturally is creating a lot of stress in locker rooms as some of the league's most vocal opponents are left to watch from the sidelines with their arms crossed and endorsements lacking. The statistics speak louder than any hateful tweet. So let's talk about the figures. The average viewership for Caitlin Clark's WNBA games is 1.18 million. That is 3 times the average for the league. She is not merely raising the bar. Rather, she is throwing it into the stratosphere. One rookie increased the WNBA's viewership by thrice last year. She hasn't yet reached her prime, and guess what?
And when you take into stock the fact that outside of Kevin Durant, aging superstar, LeBron James, 40 years old, and Steph Curry, there's not a single NBA player more popular today than Caitlin Clark. That is a problem.
Arenas are all booked. TV ratings that are historic every week. Social media videos go viral. Individuals who were unaware of the WNBA's existence the previous year are suddenly planning their entire lives around its games.
Why?
Because every time Caitlin Clark sets foot on the ground, she delivers that power. In addition to playing, she is putting on a show that is a walking economic stimulus package for women's basketball and a one-woman ratings machine. She is attracting admirers who have never even watched a women's game before Gen Z. She is their favorite boomer and uses social media to make them think of Larry Bird. Everyone in Middle America is suddenly paying attention to the NFL frenzy, with the apparent exception of a few resentful veterans who are still trying to understand how this superstar snatched their limelight without their consent. Everyone wants a piece of the Caitlin Clark phenomena.
We knew Caitlin Clark was marketable, but she's been put over some pretty big names. In fact, some worldwide, huge, international names. 2 of them being Messi and Ronaldo.
Therefore, Caitlin is out here creating a billion-dollar brand, locking arms with Wilson, and joining Michael Jordan in a joint venture, while players like Jane Carrington are busy subweeding Clark and doubting her appeal to a club that is so exclusive that it only has 2 members now. You can hate all you want, but the numbers are honest. Furthermore, this is only the start. You are not required to believe me. Ask the legends. The NBA's recognizable voice, Mike Breen, casually mentioned Caitlin Clark in the same sentence as basketball royalty, dropping one of the finest compliments possible. It isn't a hot take. That is the canon of basketball.
But for Caitlin Clark, on a worldwide marketability list for athletes, to be ahead of both Messi and Ronaldo is quite impressive. Steph Curry is behind her on the list.
However, this goes beyond what she does on the court. It concerns what she is constructing from it. Caitlin Clark is no longer merely basketball's greatest tale. She is a marketing powerhouse. In line with the professionals in the field, she is currently the world's 4th most marketable athlete. Not only women's basketball worldwide, not just the WNBA, she surpasses foreign athletes from entire sports leagues and, yes, even those sour veterans who are still stuck subtweeting from the sidelines. Let that sink in. She simply jumped ahead of whole marketing departments to become the spokesperson for the most revolutionary movement in women's sports. Additionally, the WNBA is finally making a real appearance in primetime this time around because to Clark's prominence. For women's basketball, anticipate more sponsorships, more national TV spots, and a larger seat at the table than in the past.
She's doing rating-wise for the WNBA what Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Steph Curry have been doing for the NBA.
However, not everyone is celebrating. Some of the league's old guard are munching on lemons while Clark is grinning for the cameras and changing the basketball industry. Because this is a superstar with leverage rather than just a star with grips. Additionally, a few locker rooms are tense as a result. Let's get the painting painted. Like Taylor Swift and high tops, a new player enters the league, breaks 62 records, attracts over 1 million viewers per game, and sells out stadiums. Instead, some WNBA veterans have reacted with elbows, eye rolls, and the odd cryptic Instagram tale, which should be a league dream.
The idea of some players being jealous, yes, that probably exists.
Okay.
To me, yeah, jealous, sure. I mean, would you be jealous of somebody that got $28 million a shoe deal or whatever the deal is before you step foot in the pro?
As you can see, The WNBA has always taken pride in being together and tough. Players there battled valiantly to expand a long-overlooked league, and then Caitlin Clark shows along, twists the script, and all of a sudden, the cameras, endorsements, and viewers follow her. It appears to some that she crossed the line. What they're missing, though, is that she earned it, and the tension goes beyond passive-aggressive tweets. It is manifesting on the court. Make no mistake, it's personal. You don't go chest to chest with a player like that unless they're attempting to forcefully humble her. Some players have approached Clark with a little more fire. You're carrying a burden the magnitude of a salary cap.
And what a lot of people weren't willing or were a bit reluctant to appreciate was the game on this young white sister of ours. She can ball. And oh, by the way, she was a great ambassador for the game. And by the way, she came in there and looked out for everybody else. For 22 years, they couldn't get chartered flights. That sister got there and it was done in 2 weeks. That's who Caitlin Clark is.
Simply put, what's causing the bitterness? What many veterans have never had, Clark possesses. She has the connections, notoriety, attention, and, above all, the cultural momentum. Where was all this when we were coming up? Is another question raised by several seasoned players. Although it's a legitimate query, Clark is not at fault. Not even Charles Barkley was able to remain silent. The man who was known for being honest went all out for the hate, pointing out the jealousy right away.
They try so long to get respect for women's basketball, and then they treat it like a junior high school girl's locker room. Junior high school girl antics on the court. Instead of playing the game, they gotta be drama because they're jealous. Instead of letting their skills speak for themselves, they gotta be drama because they're jealous.
Because Clark is bringing to light the ugly truth that the league has been hiding for years. The disparity in wages, the absence of promotion, and the inability to engage with supporters outside of the core audience. Although Clark did not cause these issues, she is bringing them to attention by demonstrating what can happen when someone takes action. Taking this into account, Clark makes $76,500. Yes, $76,000 in the meantime. It is anticipated that she earned over $11 million from sponsorships in the previous year. It's more than just a paycheck. That scrutiny is so intense that it appears as though there is a flaw in the league's pay structure.
Ladies, and I'm a WNBA fan, they cannot have this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse.
Indeed, the money is altering the topic of conversation. Suddenly, the notion of a WNBA player earning millions of dollars isn't fantasy. The headline, here's the main line though. If this new wave is going to lift all boats, the league must ride it rather than fight it. We are at a pivotal moment. Clark is a movement as well as a basketball star. She is pushing the league to change and focus on having bigger dreams. However, veterans will be left behind as the game moves on if they don't change their perspective from why she happened to what is now achievable.
So she spoke out against that. She got people paid. She got better travel arrangements. She increased the ratings and the revenue, which obviously the WNBA benefited exponentially because now you got a $200 million deal. All of these things being considered, you damn right. It is appropriate that she got Athlete of the Year. She is special.
And just when it seems that the Clark mania was at its height, a voice interrupted to bring everything to life. A voice we don't have not yet heard from in this discussion, a voice that completely upended the basketball world. What Michael Jordan said regarding Caitlin Clark, that made all the difference.
What little girl wants to grow up and play in a league where you're targeted like that? How do you sit here and profess and demand that everyone take women's sports seriously when you can't even take it seriously enough to not act like a junior high queen on the court? It's stupid. That's so dumb. It looks like a soap opera.
Let's discuss that instance. Caitlin Clark received the ultimate endorsement from Michael Jordan, the indisputable GOAT whose shoes essentially finance entire economies. And no, it wasn't a casual remark. He didn't only nod and carry on. Jordan exclaimed that watching children dribble Clark's trademark basketball is incredible. It's not flattering that generations imitated him with their own. That is a moment of a torch passing. From the jumper to the the three queens, and MJ dropped the hammer just when you thought he was finished. He claimed that because of everything Clark does for the game, the WNBA owes her. Give that one time to marinate. Nobody knows what it means to transform a sport more than the man who made basketball a worldwide obsession. So when Michael Jordan advises a league that they should start gifting someone her flowers, you listen.
What if I told you a WNBA rookie was out here doing what no one thought was possible and outshining the great Michael Jordan's legacy? How would you react? Caitlin Clark is the girl flipping the script. Her rookie numbers are ridiculous. Fans, analysts, and even Michael Jordan stans are...
This moment is significant because it dispels the myth that women's basketball is solely for males when the most famous person in men's basketball puts his all behind a WNBA sensation. The opposing league Jordan used the statement to close the distance. He didn't mention how good Caitlin is at women's basketball. He claimed that she is excellent at basketball. That difference is revolutionary. But let's add a statistic that could break your ankles if your jaw wasn't already on the ground. The only two rookies in NBA or WNBA history to average at least 18 points each are Caitlin Clark and Michael Jordan.
You know well enough that in 1984, when Michael Jordan came into the NBA, the ratings in the NBA were not great. Chicago Stadium was, a third full.
In the playoffs, 8.5 assists, 5 rebounds, 1 block, and 2 steals per game. That is historic, not just impressive. She is not going in the same direction as Jordan. She's literally walking beside him step for step, stat for stat. Jordan's support reverberated throughout the basketball world, and the data supporting her supremacy. Now that one thing is very obvious, not only is a new WNBA star on the rise, but a transcendent figure is also emerging who is altering our perception of athlete endorsements and the potential of women in sports.
He's getting the lion's share of the attention. The games are now getting put, all of his games are on TV. And he just was a polarizing figure. And Tiger Woods was like that when he went to the PGA as well. He changed the total economics of golf the same way Michael Jordan changed the financial economics of the NBA.
The regulations are already being rewritten due to Clark's influence. She is the driving force behind a marketing revolution in addition to being the focal point of her team. Companies are rearranging their whole strategy around her rather than only placing bets on her. Clark's era is beginning now, not in 5 years, unlike many of her predecessors. She isn't waiting. She is constructing her empire in real time. It's not just a hot streak, it's a complete movement. Additionally, as Caitlin Clark keeps burning nets, filling venues, and making money worldwide, since this is the reality, the question is not whether she can continue, but rather how high she will take this league with her. We are witnessing a phenomenon in motion that is only becoming faster, not the birth of a star. The best part is that Caitlin Clark is only getting started with her cooking. Please let us know in the comments if you agree. To ensure that you never miss anything, like, subscribe, and enable all notifications. After you click the video on the screen, we'll talk in the next.